Hello. This short video follows on from our first video in this series, How to Save for Your Retirement. In the previous video, we showed you how you can work out approximately how much money you will need to save for your retirement. In this video, we will show you 3 ways to help you to hit your retirement savings target. As ever, we aim to cut through the jargon and give you clear guidance that is easy to understand. It's important to remember that as everyone is different, we cannot provide you with personal advice, and that the case used in this video is just an example. But we hope it will help you to understand the types of decision you will need to make in saving for your retirement. Let's take another look at our real-life example from the first video in this series. Just to remind you, Jim Evans is 40 years old and currently earns €50,000. Jim decided that he wanted a pension of €28,000 when he retires, which means that he needs to build up a fund of €560,000 in order to provide himself with the pension he's looking for, which is a very substantial sum of money. So, if, like Jim, you're looking to build up a retirement fund of more than €500,000, how exactly can you do this? Well, the answer is that building up appropriate retirement savings depends upon regular saving, the effects of compound interest, and, importantly, the benefit of your employer's contributions to your pension plan. Let's take another look at Jim's situation. Jim can join his employer's pension plan and benefits from his employer's contributions, which are 5% of his salary of €50,000. But he also makes personal contributions of 5% of his salary, which adds up to a total contribution of 10% of his salary, or €5,000 per year. Let's see what that might add up to by the time Jim reaches 65 in 25 years' time. As you can see, the value of the contributions that Jim and his employer make to the plan gradually build up. By the time Jim reaches 65, he has a fund of just over €400,000, that's assuming 4% salary increases every year, and 5% investment growth. Remember, this shows what Jim would build up simply by joining his employer's plan at standard contribution rates, with 5% contributions from his employer and 5% from Jim himself. Of course, he's still not achieved his target fund of €560,000, but he's got a long way towards it. Now, let's look at what he can do to bridge that gap. Here is Mark Green of AEGON Global Pensions to show us 3 things that Jim could do to reach his target.
So, Jim looks likely to fall short of his target fund of €560,000 if he joins his employer's pension plan at the standard contribution level of 5%. He'll build up about €400,000 if he does this. What can he do to build up another €160,000? Well, the first thing he could do is contribute more to the pension plan. If Jim makes an extra, say, 4% contribution, that is, he increases his personal contributions to 9%, then he could achieve his target fund. You can see that if Jim and his employer together make regular contributions of 14% of his salary, he could build up a fund of €560,000. If Jim is lucky, his employer may even match any additional contributions he makes, in which case, if he makes an extra 2% contribution and his employer matches that with another 2%, then he has the 14% contribution he's looking for in order to achieve his goal. You should check whether your employer does this. Not everyone does. And even if they do, most put a cap on the amount of contributions they'll match. So that's Jim's first option, making extra contributions to boost his retirement savings to help him reach his target. If you're interested in this option for your own situation, then why not download the Ready Reckoner from our website to see how making extra contributions can boost your savings. But what if Jim can't afford to make extra contributions? What alternatives has he got then? Then he could look at trying to get better investment returns on his savings. Put simply, Jim could take larger investment risks to try to get better rewards. But if you're considering this, you have to beware. If the risks don't pay off, you could find that your fund goes down in value, not up. You have to be prepared for this. Funds that are trying to get higher growth tend to be more volatile. That is, they tend to go up and down much more than less adventurous funds that are seeking more modest returns. Over the long term, that can pay off, but it might not, and you have to be willing to accept this if you go down this route. Finding suitable investment funds to match your objectives is a major topic and not one we can cover here. However, we do cover this in one of the other videos in this series. So if you're considering this option, you may want to take a look at that video too before making your decisions. A second thing you can do to boost your investment returns, and one that's perhaps easier to do, is to move to a fund that has lower charges. If you think of the charge as being like a brake on the growth, the higher the charge, the more you're slowing down your investment growth. So by switching to a lower charging fund, you're applying less brake on the growth you're getting. Again, this is a topic we cover separately in our video on how to choose your investment fund, so I won't go into detail here. Here we see the effect of Jim getting 7.5% investment growth instead of the 5% he was getting previously. Of course, it's important to remember that investments, particularly investments on stock markets, never grow in a nice smooth line like the graph shows. They go up and down on a daily basis, sometimes quite dramatically. If you're trying to get higher growth, you have to take a long-term view and accept this. Jim has 25 years to go to his retirement date, so he's willing to do this. You also have to decide if it's something you feel comfortable with. If this is something that you think might be interesting for you, then why not download our Ready Reckoner that shows the effect on your savings if you increase your investment return, even if only by a little over a number of years. But what if you're not comfortable with option 2? You don't want to increase the level of investment risk to try to increase the level of return you get. And you can't afford to make higher contributions at the moment. That rules out option 1. Suppose, like Jim, you still have a target fund of €560,000, but it looks like you'll fall €160,000 short of that target by the time you reach age 65. What other option do you have? The third option is to defer your retirement date a little. It's surprising how deferring your retirement by 2 or 3 years can make achieving your objectives more possible. Firstly, you'll be making contributions and getting investment growth for longer. Secondly, because you're retiring later, the length of time you have to provide yourself with a pension is relatively shorter. So your target fund might actually come down. Which means Jim has a third option. He can defer retiring for a little over 2 years, and this enables him to achieve his objective without making any extra contributions which he couldn't afford, or taking extra investment risk which he was reluctant to do. If you want to see the effect of deferring your retirement for a year or 2 on your pension, then you can download our Ready Reckoner to check how it might work out for you.
So, those are 3 options you have to achieve your retirement objective, if it looks like you're not currently on track. First, you can make higher contributions to your pension plan. Secondly, you can try to get a higher investment return, either by taking additional risk, being aware that this increases the risk that your savings may also fall in value, or by reducing the charges you pay, for example, by switching from an active to an equivalent passive fund. Thirdly, you can defer your retirement a little. And just to remind you, if you want to see the impact each of these options could have on improving your retirement savings, then you can download our Ready Reckoner from the website. We hope you found this video helpful. We would like to hear any comments or suggestions you may have, so please email us at the address on screen, feedback@aegonglobalpensions.com. Thank you.